Hello everyone, welcome back to Relative Security. Today we are going to start another topic, and this is incident response. Let's say if you have an incident in your organization, how do you respond to it? What kind of incident? That's a separate discussion. But if there is any incident, the organization should have a suitable response to it. So in this episode, we will discuss the very basics just to understand what exactly are the basic definitions that you need to know. For example, what is an event, an incident, malware, APT, persistence, and IOC. So let's start with the first definition of an event. The basic definition that you will get in the NIST directives would be any observable occurrence in the system or network. The events can include a user connecting to a file share, or maybe a server receiving a request for a web page, a user receiving or sending an email, or a firewall blocking a connection attempt. Now, these are all basic events that are happening in any organization numerous times a day. There's nothing so special about them. Today, every enterprise has lots of digital assets, and all the users are working on emails. They're sending and receiving lots of emails a day. So these are all the things that are happening. There's nothing different about them. These are just normal things happening in any organization. So every instance of this happening, we will call it an event. We're not talking about a good event or a bad event. These are all normal observable occurrence in any system. So if that is event, then what is an incident? The incident would be a violation or imminent threat of violation of computer security policies, acceptable use policies, or standard security practices. In the last slide, we talked about events, the observable normal occurrences. However, if there is something that violates the policy of the organization, or if any event turns out to be an imminent threat of a violation of any computer security policy, that would be an incident. For example, users are tricked into opening a quarterly report sent via email that is actually a malware. Now, this is an event, but this is an adverse event. Now, this could be a big incident. Running the tool which is infected, or it can infect the computers and established connection with an external host. This is an incident. An attacker obtains sensitive data and threatens that the details will be released publicly if the organization does not pay a designated sum of money. Now, this is a big incident. It could ruin the reputation of the company, let alone the damage that has occurred due to the data leak. Users coming on a Monday to start their week and the systems just don't boot. These are all the incidents which compel the organization to initiate a response to that incident. The events, any observable events, they don't constitute any ground for any response. This third thing which I want to discuss, which is alert or alarm. Any unwanted event or a negative event would become an alert or an alarm. So this is just another term, alert or alarm, which is often discussed when we are talking about SOC, Security Operations Center. Because if you have SIM solution, which you have implemented in your organization, the basic purpose of SIM is to analyze the logs ingested, and based on the detection strategies that you have deployed on your SIM solution, it will trigger an alert or alarm. So this will be categorized as an event which is not normal or it wasn't expected. For example, the printer crashes in the middle of the day. User receives an unsolicited email with an attachment from unknown user. These events are bound to trigger an alert or alarm. These are worth investigating, which may or may not lead to the investigation to become an incident. For example, we just now discussed one of the processes in Security Operations Center on how a threat detection team, which is monitoring the SIM solution, detects something malicious and hands over the investigation to the incident response team. However, we will have more discussion on these processes later. Currently, we will proceed with our discussion. The next thing that we are going to discuss is malware. Any software specifically designed to harm or exploit computer systems, networks, or users. It encompasses a wide range of malicious programs, including viruses, worms, trojans, ransomware, spyware, and other types of harmful code. For example, viruses, programs that attach themselves to legitimate files and replicate them when the file is executed. Worms would be self-replicating programs that spread across the networks, often exploiting vulnerabilities. We can talk about Trojans also, malicious programs disguised as legitimate ones, allowing unauthorized access or control. So why are we discussing malware? Because it's a piece of code that, if executed within your environment, can create havoc, depending on how bad or how bad the results of that particular execution will be for your organization. So if there are firewalls, if there are different other defensive security solutions, how does malware end up inside the network? The first and foremost would be email attachments. Malicious software can be concealed within the attachments in emails. Cybercriminals often use social engineering tactics to trick users into opening attachments, which then execute the malware. Another would be phishing emails. You receive an email which mimics legitimate messages to trick the recipient into clicking on malicious links or providing sensitive information. These links may lead to websites hosting malware or initiate downloads. Few other methods would be infected USB devices. The malwares can spread by infecting removable storage devices such as USB drives. When the infected device is connected to a computer, the malware can be automatically executed. These days, social engineering attacks are very much common, manipulating individuals into taking actions that compromise their security, such as clicking on links or downloading malicious files. This technique can often exploit human psychology to deceive users. So, why an incident response consultant or employee within an incident response department needs to know these attack techniques? Because incident responders should know that to effectively identify, analyze, and mitigate security incidents. For example, the one would be recognize indicators of compromise. The knowledge of attack techniques helps responders to identify indicators of compromise, allowing for a swift detection and response to security incidents. Familiarity with the attack techniques enhances the ability to analyze incident data, determine the scope of the incident, and identify the methods that could have been used by the attackers. And once the incident responder knows about the different attack techniques, or at least he knows how the attackers use which techniques to infiltrate or exfiltrate the data and infiltrate into the network, they can devise tailored response strategies, improving the chances of successful containment and eradication. Incident responders also contribute valuable insights to threat intelligence by staying informed about evolving attack techniques, aiding in the development of more effective security defenses. Let's talk about APTs, or Advanced Persistent Threats, refer to a highly sophisticated and targeted cyber attacks conducted by well-funded and organized threat actors. So, APTs are characterized by their persistent and prolonged nature, as these adversaries typically maintain unauthorized access to a targeted system or network over an extended period of time. The primary goal of an APT is often the exfiltration of sensitive data, and attackers seek to steal valuable information, including intellectual property, trade secrets, or classified data. One of the characteristics of APT is that they often operate with a low and slow approach, avoiding detection by blending into the normal network traffic and using encryption to conceal their activities. They are persistent in their efforts to maintain long-term access to the target. Unlike opportunistic attacks, APTs are patient and adopt their tactics to avoid a detection, remaining undetected for a very long period. This is our last slide where we're going to talk about indicators of compromise. Indicators of compromise is a piece of forensic information that indicates potential malicious activity or a security incident. IOCs are used by cybersecurity professionals to identify and respond to security threats because they are very crucial for cybersecurity professionals to detect, investigate, and respond to security threats. Some of the very common IOCs would be malware signatures, for example, hash values or digital signatures associated with the known malicious files or code, IP addresses. IP address is known to be associated with malicious activities such as command and control service, domain names, file names and paths, registry keys and entries, usually used for anomalies or changes in the Windows registry that may be indicative of compromise, email addresses or any URLs. These are different IOCs that are very valuable and are often found when the incident responders are actually responding to their incident, or they're doing some forensics on the memory or any other artifacts collected during an incident response. So these are the basic definitions that I wanted to clear before we delve into the process of incident response, actually, like which is preparation, identification, containment, eradication, these kind of things. Before getting into those processes, I wanted to clarify some of the terminologies which we have discussed today. And in the next video, we are going to delve into the actual process of incident response, in which we will discuss what happens exactly during an incident response exercise. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe this channel, particularly this video. Thank you so much.